just now. A very good evening to you, Mr. Mabin. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Our colleagues had just sent back an excerpt of a discussion with your Treasurer General saying that this is going to be a challenge for you. Can you expand a little bit more?
Thanks, Tepiso, and evening to your viewers. Of course, we are studying the decision and our lawyers are looking at it carefully. We note the outcomes and we welcome the judgment. We believe it's in line with the Judge Moseneke Commission. Of course, there would have been matters of free and fairness that would have been dealt with. So the decision now allows for some of the issues that would have raised in the past to now be considered by the IEC. One, the date initially proclaimed for elections has now been set aside. The IEC has now been empowered to be able to revise its own timetable, allow those that might not have registered to be able to participate in that process, including all other things that really relate to the work that the IEC is expected to do, to make sure that in the new date that will be proclaimed by the Minister in consultation with the IEC, together with party liaison committees, due regard is being made to make sure, one, that it is practically possible to be able to hold elections between the 27th and the 1st of November, and that those elections will be held under a climate or conditions of free and fairness, and that all of those that qualify to vote are given an opportunity to be able to participate in this exercise. As a party that is law-abiding, we will make sure that through the relevant platforms, we are able to express whatever views that we may have. Our team is also studying all of this. And when we finish our Special National Executive Committee together with the Lekgotla, we will be able to fully express ourselves in terms of how we will be relating with all of these developments going forward. But the ANC, even as it joined the application of the IEC to extend elections to a later day in February at the time, this did not necessarily bar us. We did indicate out in the public that some of the challenges that we experienced were largely created by COVID-19, our inability to be able to campaign in the manner that we are used to, the fact that we could not be able to hold bigger meetings. The ANC always would have, even if it's a small meeting, would include 50+1.
I must ask you this question. One, it was raised by the EFF's Vuyani Pambo saying that the IEC dare not reopen the candidate registration, saying that it would show bias towards the ANC. And of course, you do know that the DA's Helen Zille has also hinted, in fact, she's pretty much said it, that there must be some collusion between the ANC and the IEC. The ANC and the Concord, saying that the Concord possibly told the ANC of the IEC outcome because it then would be in your favor. What is your response to these comments?
Political parties must really save themselves from unnecessary embarrassment in terms of how they interpret judgments of the court. You see, there is something called proclamation. When you proclaim elections, that comes with everything else that is associated with that. So you don't have one aspect of elections called a timetable and have another aspect of elections called proclamation. We must understand the law. When you set aside a proclamation, it means all of the activities that relate to that proclamation will have to now be conducted in the manner in which the court has expressed itself. That now the ball has been thrown back to the IEC, which has got to make sure that in its own analysis, it satisfies itself that it will be able to meet the kind of deadlines that have been set out. Should the IEC arrive at a different determination, it will also have to advise the relevant structures, including the court, of its inability to do those. Those are spelled out under a 5A of the judgment. Actually, when you start going to paragraph 4 of the judgment and 5 of the judgment, they begin speaking to those things. So before we jump to express ourselves on judgment, we must sufficiently, like we've done in the ANC, study the judgment and understand the order so that when we make an expression out in the public, we really understand what the order entails. There is no way that the ANC would have interfered with processes of the Apex Court. The African National Congress has fully said out in the public that the argument that it is raising, or it was going to advance before the Electoral Court, it is exactly the same argument that it has put forward in supporting the IEC application. Now, from a legal strategy point of view, it is only fair that as you conduct your reviews and you have got facts before you, guided by your own legal minds, you can then say which one is the right option to go with. Because we are guided by laws of the land and understand how to exercise those rights given to us by the laws of the land.
We'll leave it there.
The National Congress has done.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Pule Mabi, who is the ANC's national spokesperson. We joined now by Herman Mashaba of Action SA for his reaction. I know, Mr. Mashaba, you and your colleagues were amongst those that were against this application by the IEC. Share your thoughts with us now. What the moment means for our democracy historically, and also for Action SA in contesting the local government elections.
Thank you very much, and good evening to SABC listeners. We as Action SA very, very much relieved with this Concord judgment, because any other judgment outside what the Concord has pronounced would have really been a violation and mockery of our Constitution. So we are pleased with this, as much as obviously it's putting pressure on all of us to ensure that we are ready to really deliver successful elections on the 27th or whatever date before the 3rd of November. So we are really excited with this, because, and the reason why I'm personally saying we are excited, because you know, a country that does not respect its constitution and the rule of law, that country is bound to fail. So we're really quite pleased that at least the rule of law still applies in South Africa.
All right. Any challenges that you possibly foresee?
Well, I think we just need to, fortunate enough, if you look at us as Action SA, we ran in July already very successful primaries, groundbreaking primaries, where we got residents in all the three metros in Gauteng, which we are contesting in. That is Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane. The residents of each ward are the ones who have really decided on their ward councillors and the PR councillors, including myself as the leader of the party, to put my head in the ring to be the mayoral candidate. But the residents of Johannesburg are the ones who decided on this. So we'll be contesting at eThekwini. On Monday, I'll also be making groundbreaking announcement of our mayoral candidate. Is going to shock the country, to really demonstrate to us that we are serious about taking our country forward, really bringing people with experience. People are committed to this country. But what is more important is the respect of the rule of law. I really take my head off to our Constitutional Court judges, saying to them, you know what, you did the country a favor, because you are our last hope, because at the end of the day, all the other law enforcement agencies completely captured by the current administration. And what this has heralded is the fact that South Africa is safe. We are going to contest, give it our best shot, bring in a new era of democracy and public accountability to people of South Africa.
Thank you so much, Herman Mashaba, leader of Action SA, his reaction to the Constitutional Court ruling, the Apex Court saying that local government elections must go ahead